We all love Efren. What
The
a
GOAT.
legend, huh? What? Well, actually, that's a good question, Jim. Who do you consider, like, as a European, who do you consider the GOAT?
European wise, all time.
Well, I think like Efren spent a ton of time in the U.S., and I think if you polled, let's say, a general consensus of the U.S., probably 25% would say Shane, 25% would say Earl, and I think probably like 40% would say Efren.
And to
And
me,
then 10% would
mean,
be like here or
there's
there.
there's so many different games and so many different disciplines and there's so many different formats that I don't think you can name one. I mean, for me, Earl's the greatest nine ball player that's ever lived, and comfortably as well. But do I consider him the greatest pool player that's ever lived? No, because there's other players that were better than him at other games. You know, um, Efren's
I
always
mean,
in the top. Efren's always going
the
to be in the
game
top
matters
three.
for sure. The game
Yeah,
makes a big
Yeah.
difference.
exactly.
So,
So you'd have to take every single one of them. You know, the greatest breaker of the balls is going to be Shane. You know,
well,
uh,
yeah, but I mean, Efren's, probably one of the best, if not. Well, I think he's considered the best one pocket player, at least by a lot of people. I mean, everyone's going to have their opinions, but a lot of people would put him in that top, like at least 3 all time. And of course his resume in nine ball. You know,
the thing that
I don't know.
the thing with Efren is you'd put him probably in the top five of everything.
Yeah. Well,
He's in the
I
top.
remember. I
He's
remember
probably
it
the
was
only
like
one. He's probably the only one that's in the top three or top five of everything.
I remember whenever he was already washed up, like quote unquote, right? And then he was in the Philippines and snaps off a 10 ball tournament. I think this was like in 15, I think,
Yeah,
somewhere around then. And I mean, to snap off a 10 ball tournament in the Philippines, it's not a coincidence. Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no.
So
Are there some good players in the Philippines? Can anybody there even play?
a couple of shortstops.
I
Yeah,
heard they have. I heard they have a couple of. I heard they have a player that's going to be moving there pretty soon for about the next 5 years. That plays
Well,
okay.
permanent resident apparently.
yeah. Well, he stayed here in the U.S. seems like equal amount of time over the last 5 years.
That's probably the issue.
Yeah,
It's
right.
part of it, I suppose.
Well, we're going to be talking about that in just a little bit, but I want to get a couple announcements out of the way in the beginning. I want to give and actually I see him out there right now, Morgan Lupton. We'll give a shout out to Morgan Lupton. He won the Predator Air Rush, and that was shipped out this morning, so you should be getting that, I would think, pretty soon. And I do want to thank everybody else that took part in the Patreon. It's honestly, it's the best way that we're able to continue doing what we're doing here and to be able to continue promoting the game full time. The Patreon program is the best way of doing that. If you're interested in getting involved with that, we are actually going to be giving away I guess next month, we're going to be giving away a carbon or a white carbon fiber shaft. So it's a new company that just started up about 2 months ago. They are my personal Q sponsors, and we are going to be giving away a custom carbon fiber shaft from White Carbon. So that is going to be the prize for next month. So if you would like to get entered into the drawing for that, you can join the podcast's Patreon
I want to
program.
join because I need a white brake shaft for my brake cue. So,
well, if you ask really nicely, maybe you can get one, but it's going to have to be
it's
from
rigged.
Santa
It's
Claus.
rigged because I should have won I should have won the Predator Air. Well, whatever. I'm not going to complain.
It's a good cue. Even I can go over balls with it.
Yep. And and I was pretty happy to see Morgan won. Well, I mean, I want to see everybody win one, but he's been a Patreon. He was one of the first Patreons I had, so he's been supporting for a long time and does a lot to help me out. So,
well, it's definitely
awesome.
rigged then.
Yeah. So, I put in the comments there where you can join the podcast Patreon. Basically, all it is you give a couple bucks a month, all the way up to significant amounts more. But basically, it's just saying, hey, we appreciate what you're doing. Here's a couple bucks a month to keep you guys going. So that is what the Patreon program is, and I guess we'll move on from there. So today is apparently there's a bonus today for stars. Like we don't ask for stars while we're doing this. We just kind of do the show, and if we get some stars, that's awesome. But apparently today there is going to be a bonus for a stars party. So it's a $50 bonus if you get like 6 people that send stars. So if you hate money and want to give us some stars, it might give us a bonus today. That'd be kind of sweet. I don't know.
Ship it.
It's a thought. Yep, ship some stars.
So six stars gets you a bonus of $50. But a star is like 10 cents or something like that, no?
Well, no, I think it's 6 people need to send stars, and then yeah. So thank you very much, Sarah Schmidt. So we have 1. I think my understanding is if you have 6 people that send them, it creates a stars party, and then once you get a stars party, you have to get like 600 stars combined, and then it's like it's a $50 bonus. I don't know. I don't get it. All I know is that this is going to tell me, oh, we're already at a stars party. Challenge active. Your audience has been challenged to send stars in the next 5 minutes. Encourage them to reach their goal. So I don't really know what that means. I don't know.
Stars.
We're in a stars party. Woo! Anyways, I guess let's get jumped in. Oh, thank you again to James Modlin, 50 stars. Kyle Botte, sorry, 100 stars. We're in a stars party. All right, let's talk some big stuff. I guess let's start with Dennis. Dennis overstayed his visa by 1 day, and the U.S. government said, "Ha, guess what? You're gone for 5 years." Now, I don't know exactly what's going on behind the scenes, but to my understanding, there is a stable of people who are willing to fight on his behalf, hire a lawyer, and see what they can do to get him back significantly before then. Maybe we're talking a month or 2 outside of the country. But that's kind of what we're looking at as far as the ban. Mike, did I miss anything that you know of?
Nope. But in a nutshell, I mean, he's being sent back home. So I know Phil made a post saying that they're optimistic for a few months. I'd be surprised. I would definitely take the over if the line was set at 3 months, whether or not Dennis is going to be back in the States. Just because of, in general, I think it's tough to go and get through all that red tape, but then you go and put it in the middle of a pandemic and then all this other BS that seems to be coming up here sooner than later. At least that's what it seems like, that we're going back to things being a little hectic again. So I'd be surprised. But, at the end of the day, Dennis plays great pool, and there's guys who, make money with
for sure.
Yeah, he's a shortstop.
Definitely a promising up and comer.
Guys make a lot of money with Dennis. They put him in not just tournaments, but playing games on the side. So he's a big part of the economy when it comes to a few guys. So they're definitely going to be willing to do whatever they can. And I mean, listen, when you think about it, let's say it takes, I'm just throwing out a number. Let's say it takes 20 grand. That's nothing for what, they'll go and make with Dennis in, a few weeks time. So, yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping they do. It's real unfortunate because I think that the future in general is really bright. Obviously, Dennis is a threat to go and make master of the table and snap off one of the major Derby events, not to mention
Currently
the other.
Defending, right? He's the defending champion of the table, right? Because I think he stole it away from Billy on the last day.
Stole it away from Billy.
Well, I mean, Billy won at that point in time. I think Billy had taken second or third I think he took second in the banks, and he had won the.
It came down to like the 9 ball. It was whether or not Dennis was going to win one.
Yeah, he won the one pocket, and then he got second or third in the banks. And I mean, and he was still alive. I think he had no losses going into like the 7th or 8th round. And he ended up losing like back-to-back matches or 2 out of 3 or something like that. And Dennis ended up, I think Levan Corteza won it, didn't he? But Dennis got just deep enough to make it.
Levan won the 9 ball, but yeah, Dennis ended up winning, I think, on the last event. But yeah, and not just that, but pick anywhere Dennis is gonna go, and I don't care what the discipline is, whether it's bar table pool, big table pool, 9 ball, 10 ball, 1 pocket. Dennis is probably gonna go top 2 in the Calcutta, no matter where he's going, anywhere in the country. So he's, I think, like an 820 Fargo. So he's top, 5 in the world. It's real unfortunate, and I'm sure some guys are happy that his ass is going to be back in the Philippines. But
the guys in the Philippines won't, because you'll be hunting them for a bit of extra money.
I mean, Dennis has to get creative to go and make money, and if it was that easy, he can. I'm sure he would love to go make a living over there, but it's not. Dennis has a reputation. He's a fierce, Money Game King, and that's why he's got that nickname. And you gotta kind of give up the nuts whenever you go and play him, even over there. So yeah,
Two more stars for a bonus. Two more stars for a bonus. And we've only got 40 seconds.
There you go.
Is that what it's saying? Oh my goodness, we need 2 stars. How do we get 2 stars in 40 seconds? Is that really it? Oh, poo. I do got to give a shout out to, let's see here, Rob Shipman, Laura Berg, Rob Shipman again, and Tanner Pruis. Oh, go Tanner Pruis. What a guy. What a guy, Tanner Pruis. That's a game. That's a game that you need to play when you get back over here, Jim. I want to see you and Tanner Pruis line up sometime. That would be fun. Tanner, get to the Mosconi Cup next year. That'd be an awesome match to watch.
You got the 8.
Tanner plays good, man. I'm telling you, he plays.
Yeah,
really
okay.
good.
He's gonna have to if he wants to play me at Mosconi, he's gonna have to be able to drink as well.
Okay, Tanner Pruis got to go drink for drink. What did something happen? Did it go like crazy with like things? We made it.
So yeah, I guess
Yay!
we're gonna have to wait. And I'm pretty clueless when it comes to the rules for for immigration in the US. I just know if you do get on the wrong side, then they can make life pretty difficult for you. 5 years is a standard. I heard that there was a possibility of getting some sort of sportsman or sports person, athlete visa. But I guess even if he was able to get something like that, he still has to serve the penalty, whatever penalty he gets given for this infringement. So I really don't know what the situation is going to be.
Yeah, So essentially, what it is I guess for anybody who doesn't know, and I mean, if I'm wrong on this, I guess I can't imagine you know much about visa stuff either, Mike. But my understanding is that you can be in the U.S. for a certain amount of time. So it kind of depends from country to country. But the idea is certain countries can stay certain amount of times in the U.S. And the amount of time that you're here is got to be the exact amount of time that you're here. So you can't stay longer. So if your visa's for 5 days, you need to be out in 5 days. If it's 5 months, you need to be out in 5 months. And basically, we had discussed this a little bit before. We don't know exactly why he went over, but he went over by one exact day. And the U.S. is apparently super strict on this. So because he went over one day, he didn't find out about it. I mean, he had to have known he was over one day, I would suspect. But he didn't know anything about it. They didn't tell him anything. And he jumped on a plane in the Philippines to come back for X amount of time. And they didn't stop him in the Philippines. They brought him all the way back. And he was stopped going through customs in LAX. And to our knowledge, he is actually sitting in a holding cell right now waiting to go back. Is that right, Mike? Or at least as of yesterday, he was. So he's not even back in the Philippines. He's sitting in like basically a makeshift jail cell waiting to get sent back, which is, kind of wild in a sense.
Yeah, I know I'd seen a comment from Jay Helfert, and yeah, in a nutshell, he was in a holding cell waiting to go and get back home. So, I mean, Dennis is a celebrity in the pool world,
Yeah.
And no matter where he goes, and yeah, I don't know, man. It's terrible news, and everyone will go and have their opinion, but Dennis is just like anybody else. This is just how he provides for his family. He's got kids and a wife, and
but I mean, this brings up another question for me. I mean, let's just pick U.S. Open. Yeah, you got the U.S. Open. You've got all these Europeans and Filipinos and the Asians. Obviously, take away the whole COVID thing, traveling over there. I'm quite sure the Europeans that are going over there are just going over there as a normal. Taking a normal flight. They're only going over for a couple of weeks. They don't have to get a visa or anything. But they're working. Are they not supposed to all ask for a working visa in order to come over? If Dennis is coming over and he's earning money, is he not supposed to be on some sort of working visa? If they really want to dig deep into his history,
I don't think Dennis wants him to go and dig deep into that history.
No,
no.
I don't know. I don't know what. Yeah,
if you got
I don't know what
lawyers
it's
on the case,
classified as.
you're talking about they're talking about going through some sort of legal process here to try and get him off. Is that really the best idea? I mean,
and you know what this might end up turning into.
He spent the last 30 years coming over on holidays to earn money. I mean, is that really a good thing?
Yeah, and what this might end up turning into, if they do end up getting a player visa, like again, we're basically all we're doing is we're creating questions that none of us can answer because none of us are qualified to talk about this, unfortunately. But if he gets a player visa, does he now have to start applying for taxes? Does he actually have to apply for taxes and do all that stuff?
For sure.
Yeah, he'll have to declare.
And have to go claim everything.
And if he does that, is it even worth it for him to come over here to play in events if he has to give up 30% of it to taxes, right? I mean, of course, gambling, really what he's coming over here. Everybody knows Dennis is not coming over here to play in the Derby City Classic or the US Open. He's coming over here to gamble. He's coming over here to give people 12 to 5 playing one pocket for $5,000 a game. That's what he's coming over here for. So, is that going to be worth it still? I would think so. But if he actually has to record his earnings on, let's say, tournament finishes, that there's no way that giving up 30% or whatever it is for taxes is going to be worth it to him. It's just not profitable at that point. I can't imagine it as anyway.
And also, what other
play more games?
Yeah. What other can of worms does that open up for all the rest of the players that travel to the USA for big tournaments? They're technically going over there to work. It's quite a sensitive kind of area kind of thing. You're going over there. I mean, technically, I could come over if I go over to Moscone Cup and I end up, me and Nate decide to play for $5,000 in Griffs. I mean, technically, I'm supposed to declare that when I win it, if I win. But it's
you better.
It's a gray area. The whole gambling thing is a gray area. About is it earnings? Is it work? Is it
gambling? Because
if he's on a tourist visa and then they're going and he's making money no matter what it is.
But certainly US Open and stuff like that. US Open, I mean, in my opinion, if the US Open, all the players that are coming from the UK or from Europe, they should be going over there on a working visa, surely, because that's what they're going over to do, no?
And now we're getting into
really don't.
And now we're getting into a point where, like, now, I mean, as silly as it is, and Cale McCormick said that somebody actually files taxes every year. I can actually go and file taxes for all of my winnings too, because they're all write-offable. So if because I own the business of the Queued Up Network, if I were to play in a pool tournament, that's marketing for me. As long as I'm wearing a Queued Up logo on it, I'm basically advertising for myself in a pool tournament. So now I get to write off that entire event. I have to declare my winnings, but I write everything off. So I write off my food, my drink, my hotel, my flights, blah 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 blah. Some people can use those expenditures as actually part of the weights to bring your business's income down. I mean, Dennis could start a business in the U.S., right? And, then sure, he has to declare and has to pay taxes on it. But, theoretically, he could, send his plane tickets, his hotels, blah, 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 and start writing all that. We're talking about things that none of us really know about. But I know that you can do that. So there's options for it. Regardless, it's not a good situation for Dennis. And, I'm going to make it
other players as well. Yeah.
Well, I would say his backers. I would say I don't think you're going to find a single player that, that Corey Deuel hasn't stopped partying since he heard this, right? Mike's just like, come down.
I don't want to go there. I don't. Yeah.
Maybe it's Corey made a phone call and said, "Listen, there's a Filipino guy, little guy like this guy, he's getting off a flight and said,
it ain't just Corey that's happy that little guy's back in the Philippines. Let me tell you,
and he's not supposed to be here.
A lot of pool players, as much as they love Dennis, for the sake of their financial comfortability over the next few months, they are very happy that man is back over in the Philippines. I'll put it like that. So he plays great, man. What can you say? He plays great. And so great that you listen, there's no one going and knocking down doors to bring Ronnie Alcano back, or whoever else back that's had these kind of problems, So there's a line of guys that are willing to go and band together to help Dennis out, and Dennis is a machine, man.
He's good business. He's just good business.
He really is. Yeah. He really, really is. He's big money no matter where he goes, and people always want to get a piece of him. It's unfortunate he's going to miss a lot of these events.
Yep. So, I mean, is there anything else that we should talk about as far as this? I mean, it's really, I mean, we could talk about it happening, but I don't think any of us are qualified to really talk about that.
I guess there'll be
I
But
mean,
you know what I was thinking is that it's so. I mean, Emily had mentioned doing a Reyes Cup over the next few years. And I wonder how Dennis would be one of the guys from the Philippines that would be picked without a doubt. I think he's one of these premier guys like Carlo, who I think is a lot. Obviously he's a U.S. Open champion, so that makes him even more of a favorite. But I'm just curious, like, what other things is it going to go and affect Dennis down the road if this doesn't get handled? Because that's massive. I mean,
well, I'll tell you what, he better start loving the hell out of Matchroom, because that's going to be the only events he's going to be able to play in outside of the U.S. basically.
But you mentioned that Dennis, is on a different level as far as that kind of thing goes as to Ronnie O'Connor and the rest of them. He's probably at a high enough level that Matchroom now turn around and say, well, if we're going to do it, we're just not doing it in the States because Dennis can't get there.
I don't think they'd be like, I mean, he's not worth that because they can find another top Asian player to go and fill in his shoes. But I mean, if it was just the Philippines,
it wouldn't surprise me if they did it in the Philippines. I mean, they know they're going to sell the tickets. They know they're going to get a massive crowd there as well.
I mean, the crowd there would be nuts. I mean,
it'd be insane, and that would be great for TV. You see the atmosphere that they're going to bring to it. Why not?
Well, I mean, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong here, but I mean, Philippines isn't a third world country, but are they going to be able to charge the same price for tickets there as they would be able to in London or in Las Vegas?
Yeah, but they can double the size of the arena.
Yeah, maybe. But then you got to come with but now you have to start coming with finding a venue that's big enough to hold that, and the bigger you get, even with bigger crowds comes bigger costs up front to make it happen, right?
But it's all about the full package. I mean, you're talking about sponsorship deals and stuff like that. Do they get more sponsorship money coming in as well?
I just want to know that if Emily's watching this, and I'm arguing against this because I want to watch it and I don't want to go to the Philippines.
Do the big Asian sponsors get involved? The big Asian sponsors who don't get involved in the Moscone, do they suddenly get involved if it's in the Philippines? There's plenty of money there, You don't know. It would be the whole package, wouldn't it? I mean, it's all hearsay at the moment,
Yeah.
It might never happen.
I guess it's just yeah.
Well, let's put it this way. Do we even want the Reyes Cup being against the U.S. and the Philippines? Do we want that?
If it'll end up having them against Europe, hell yeah, we want the Reyes
I guarantee
Philippines
you,
against.
I
guarantee you got action if it's the Philippines against Europe, buddy. I guarantee that.
I can guarantee two of your picks if it's America against the Philippines as well. I can guarantee you one pick on both sides because you're going to have Earl and Efren playing against each other, aren't you?
and we know that
first edition.
All the
first edition.
We know what the fans' choice is going to be. Efren and Earl, and we're going to have the Scotch double is going to be Shane and Earl versus Dennis and Efren.
Hey, listen, Dennis is horrible at Scotch doubles. I can tell you that.
It doesn't matter. It's what
horrible.
That'll be something to see. See Efren and Earl battling out again. That'd be brilliant.
I think we all just kind of take Dennis for granted because we're just so used to seeing him at every event, and we're so used to seeing his greatness, and we've kind of gotten tired of seeing him play money matches and everything else over the last 2 years. But let him be gone for a few years, and there's just so many things that we're going to wish he was there. And really, if it ends up being 5 years at the age that Dennis is at,
could be the end of his career.
It could be the end of his career. I mean, let's just be realistic.
40? Is he 43?
I think he's like mid 40s. Yeah.
I want to say he's like 43 or 44.
I mean, he's not getting any younger, you know. And you can't expect to go and figure to have that kind of
he's 42 years old right now. Almost 40.
Potting ability and run out ability, and even after COVID, he wasn't as sharp as he was. I mean, it took him a good 3 months to get back into Dennis gear. And that was only after, let's say, a year off a pool. Imagine what 5 years can go and do to your career. I mean, I know he's going to hit balls over there, but it's a lot different than being here in the States and playing on a diamond. And
the atmosphere is totally
he's
different, right?
Going to be hitting balls on wet tables full of chalk rather than playing on nice clean diamonds. And
he's going to be kicking chickens out of the way so we can take shots.
Plus, Dennis is banked on making X amount of money, each year over the last few years for however long he's here. I mean, you get accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle. Your family's gotten accustomed to a certain type of lifestyle. Yeah. And now it's just none of this was planned. It's real unfortunate. Yeah,
we'll see.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I think we can move on from there. What do we want to talk about next? I want to finish out with the discussion on. Yeah, we'll talk about. Well, let's talk about the Arcadia Open. I think that's pretty awesome that the very first Predator event of the year got full. It's in Tucson, Arizona. I guess it's is it this coming week? I think.
No, I think it's in another
12th.
week.
Yeah, so it's this not this coming week, but the next week, so the 12th.
Right.
I think it's pretty cool. 64 players, $75,000 prize fund, I think is what it.
Right.
That's pretty strong. I mean, who else is doing stuff like that? Remove Matchroom. Who else is doing something like that?
Yeah, no doubt, and it's stacked full. I love seeing all the Europeans on there. There's a lot of guys that are starting to make their American trip with that event. So, and I know there's a lot of people who have their opinion. There's a lot of players, I should say, that have their opinions on the format of it. But for everything that Predator and CSI is doing and adding all that money, I know I was pretty annoyed. I'm not sure if that's the word, but yeah, I guess so. I was pretty annoyed seeing it not being filled, considering how much money they were adding to every event. Like, damn, it shouldn't take guys from Europe to come over in order to get these fields full. Like we talked about this before, Jim, where I said if these events were held with that kind of added money in Europe, it'd be every damn time. And if these Europeans weren't here, I'd be curious if it were to be filled. So
if they were to do these tournaments with 64, if they capped it at 64 players with that kind of money, they would have to have a ranking to decide who gets in the tournament and who doesn't.
Everybody be clawing and fighting to get in, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And rightfully so.
Yeah, it should be held with some kind of prestige. And I mean, for my money, I really enjoyed the excitement of it on the format side of it. I like seeing 10 ball racked with a triangle because I'm tired of these guys just,
I think
breaking.
That's absolutely needed.
Yeah, breaking with the template and 10 ball when you talk about guys at that level is just, it's brutal. The race, the 4, it gives everybody a shot. And that's what I like. It immediately puts heat on their ass from the very beginning to go and make sure that every game, every shot, everything is under a microscope because of those short races. So I'm beyond thrilled that they're back for another year. I think Ozzy had said before that they've committed to 5, which is great. But yeah, this is the first of many, and the first real true big event here in the States, I think.
If they, the most important thing for them, just in my opinion, as like an outsider, the scheduling of their events is going to be very important. They're going to fill their events if they do it. Like you said, those players are going to come over and they're going to start their US tour, heading up towards Derby and stuff like that. And they're going to, if they can do that with all their events in the USA, that then gives the European or the outside of the USA players the incentive and the financial incentive to actually come over and play those, where it's not just one individual event that they'd be traveling for, then they will fill their fields because the Europeans will come over for that kind of money, So if they get their scheduling right, there's no reason why they shouldn't be filling all their events,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and as you can see, Mike DeShane jumped in with a big expense to travel around and flip coins. I mean, it's a real thing. I mean, it absolutely is a real thing. The idea is, it definitely makes a lot of sense for the Europeans because they're over here to play in every event that they can play in. Like the U.S. players have a choice as to whether or not, and most of the most of the U.S. players are not touring players. They're just not. Maybe you can name. I mean, even Sky's not even a touring player at this point. He only plays the major events. Is anybody else?
Those guys are rolling
Tyler?
in they're all like 6 feet tall, rolling in a compact car, traveling around the country. Dennis and Alex,
Dennis Graba and Alex
and Oliver and
Mario.
All them. They figure it out, man. And they're all trying to go and make a paycheck like anyone else, and they're not making any excuses. And I understand, like, logistically, it has to go and make sense. But at the same time, if you're going to be a pro player, you got to go and get creative to be financially available to be able to make all these events. And
they've been asking for a professional tour in the States for a long, long time. Now they're getting given one. Support.
I mean, you're always going to have people that are going to have a negative opinion. I don't care what it is. I mean, if it was 9 ball. Race to 7, won on the spot, there would still be complaints about that. I mean, like, there's no perfect solution here. What I do like is that they're not trying the same old thing and hoping for different results. Because if what hasn't worked in pool for so long is already shown and proven, I like that someone has the perspective to go and say, let's not try that. And at the end of the day, I don't think that the players are the guys to go and ask for. Obviously, they got it. They're a part of the whole show, right? They're a part of the circus. You got to have the players there. But the NFL doesn't go and have a vote of players going and dictate every single rule. It's a collective, and it's like that in any sport, you know. So I like that they're at least trying something different. And just from someone who was there a few times and streamed a couple of things, I saw a lot of fans get excited about that format that otherwise weren't, like, just really obscure names that even I was like, who the hell are these guys? And people are glued in because, hey, it's about to be a shootout, or it's 3-3 right now, you know, and you're still engaged and watching. And it's even that much more when you do have, you know, more vogue players that are, you know, in that moment or in that kind of situation.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, when the matches aren't happening, I'm not hanging around generally when I'm at these events. When these matches are happening and it's close, I'm not going anywhere. There is something like if the match is 1-1 or even 2-0 or even 1-0, I mean, like, the matches are so entertaining because you know that at any given time somebody could just bust out and, you know, or, you know, it can come down to 3-3 when it's 1-0. And what's more entertaining than watching a hill game with a shootout on the other side of it if one player wins? Like, it's I played in one of these events. I was lucky enough that I was only in one shootout and I was able to win it. Sorry, Ronnie, you're in here watching. My bad. But, like, I think it's fantastically entertaining. Like, it's short, fast paced, and I mean, unless somebody's up 3-0 and they're already up one set, I mean, it's entertaining from start to finish because everything means something.
But because of that format, even with that format and the set format, I mean, it's exciting. Or every mistake, there's tension right from ball one, because you're only four racks away from winning the set. Your opponent's also only 4 racks away from the set, and technically, it's the same. I mean, the Darts World Championship was just finished just now, and you see it. You know, matches, because it's in the set format. It's not, you know, you could have the guy that's won the most legs or the most games is actually behind in the match, you know? So you've got to play it slightly different, you know? And it's, you know, you could win the first set 4-3, or you lose the first set 4-3, win the second one 4-0. Now, in a normal match, you're 7-4 ahead and you're feeling good about yourself. But here, you're like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm winning this 7-4, but I'm in a shootout, you know? And the other, it's...
Yeah.
You know, you can have a bad 10 minutes, lose 3 racks, make a couple of mistakes. You're not out of the match. You know, you can still get back in the second set. So right from ball one, there's pressure on every shot, and I like that. There's no dead moments in the match, really. You know, there's in a race to 9 or these, especially these big races that we see, there tends to be dead moments in the match where you're sitting there thinking, oh, you know, you don't mind leaving your screen and going to make yourself a cup of coffee or going to the toilet or whatever. You know, whereas in these races to 4, you know, you're like glued to it, like, ooh, this could switch, this could turn at any time, you know.
And there's never a moment where, like, you have control, because
exactly,
just like you said, Jim, you can go and win 4-3, or even let's say you win 4-1 the first set and you think, oh man, he's in a cruise. All it takes is one little mistake, and with that rack, it's blown up, you know. And then you win, and the other guy wins the second set, goes into the shootout with all the momentum, and all bets are off. I mean, it really makes every moment exciting in that. And
I fully understand the other side of the coin as a kind of a player.
Right.
I probably wouldn't like it very much, you know, as a player.
You want more value for your money, right? You want more value for what you're spending to go and get there.
I want to be able to make mistakes without getting hammered for it straight away, you know. You want to be able to, you know, sometimes it's nice in a match to know that, you know, if the first couple of racks, you know, if you lose them, you're not completely out of it. You can just sort of ease your way into the match. You know, you've got some players that are more of a diesel and they need a little bit of time to get into the match kind of thing. They're not going to like this format, you know. They want to have some time to get into a flow, you know. So I can understand that some players maybe don't like it, but as a fan, right from ball one, you're like, right, let's see what they got. You know, you better be ready when you get out there.
Here's what I say. People have been complaining about there's no money in pool. And I mean, this isn't in the grand scheme of things, millions of dollars, right? I mean, collectively. But my point is that it's a big money added event, and they're doing it, I think, like 7 times over the course of the year, 6 times, something like that. So, like you can go and make a living. You just got to go and get there. You can go and make some money. You got to go and get there whenever the time comes. And I get it, guys.
Here's the tour. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead, Nate.
Well, here's the tour. January 12th through the 15th is the Arcadia Arizona Open. That's $75,000 prize fund. February 9th through the 12th, the Apex Wisconsin Open, which I will be at and playing in, has a $75,000 prize fund. March 23rd through 26th, the Las Vegas Open, $100,000 prize fund. September 21st through the 24th, the CSI Michigan Open, $100,000 prize fund. October 19th through the 22nd, Fargo Rate Ohio Open, $75,000 prize fund. The Puerto Rico Open, which is TBD, $100,000 prize fund. You're looking at $250,000 being given away between 6 events. You can't say there's no money. Now, would we like to see that be $2.5 million? Hell yeah! But this is this is year number 2, and last year I think the prize fund was $200,000. So they increased it from year 1 to year 2, $50,000. I mean, what's to say it's not going to be $500,000 in 3 years from now?
It won't be if they continue to not support it like they did last year, and that's why I'm thrilled to go and see, this field go and get filled up. I'd imagine that Vegas is going to be filled up. Hopefully, all those guys that are touring around, sure. Vegas, I hope that it's like that for their entire season, because for the amount of money
I heard Wisconsin is very close to filling. Last I heard,
people cannot expect somebody just to walk up to the pool world and say, "Here's $1 million." It's not going to happen. These things have to be nurtured, they have to be supported, and they have to be allowed to give them the opportunity to grow to something that might be millions worth in the future. Right. But it's not just going to happen in the first time. Nobody's just going to walk in and say, "Hey guys."
Well, it has to be a business, Jim. It has to be viable and sustain and make money, because these guys aren't going to go and dump $1 million just for the sake of, I want to give these guys a chance to go and make a couple bucks. That's not how life works.
The pros, the top guys, they have to support these. They have to make sure it's very much up to them whether or not it's as much up to them as it is to the people involved in building it to make sure it is something substantial and that it's something that's successful. There's no point 2 years from now for a guy to turn around and say, "See, I told you it was going to be rubbish." And then, okay, how many events did you go to? Yeah, the first one, and then I just didn't like it, so I didn't go again. Well, you're one of the reasons. You're the problem, not the solution, Support it, go through it. It's not like you've got anywhere else to go. And then let's see if it grows into something.
Well, what are they going to go and do? Play a $2,000 added bar table event in the middle of nowhere in the U.S.? And then while they're going to be there, while they're going to be there at the bar, they're going to be there complaining about how there's no money in pool like they've done for the last 15 years. Like, give me a break with that, man. Yeah. That's just not how it works. Like, they're trying. Support the ones who are trying.
Exactly. Yeah, the players have to get involved. They have to support it, or it'll die. And that's been the problem with a lot of ventures in pool. The players haven't supported it, and it just died. Get on this one.
Well, because everyone's skeptical, or everyone knows better, or.
And these guys have started at a higher level than probably anybody started at before, certainly recently. So give them the credit that they're due for the first year and what they've added to it for the second year. And who knows what it might end up being.
If my dead ass money can sign up for it, your live ass money can sign up for it. That's all I'm saying. But I'm going to win one match.
I'd play it if I was over there. Yeah.
I'm going to win one match.
What else are you going to do? Where else are you going to go and play? Yeah.
Well, if you ask you, Jim, you might give us a nice speech about Cheetos in someone's basement. If you want to go, give us that speech about it, you can try that.
No, it's all right.
Been there, done that.
I'll dodge out there.
Awesome. All right. Well, yeah, I guess that's pretty cool for the Arcadia. I think that wraps it up.
Hold on, one more thing, Nate. I just want to say, Ozzy and them are open to, like, they're not so dead set in what's gone on so far to where they may not change down the road. Like, they're taking feedback. They go and have a discussion about it. The buck doesn't go and stop with him, because he said it plenty of times whenever I've talked to him that there's a collective group of people and they want it to be successful, you know? So if there's someone that's willing to put money and they're on my side, let's go. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just I'm just hoping that they don't listen to the players as much as they have in the past, because at the end of the day, every single one of the players is going to be looking out for what's best for them. And that's, rightfully so, but what's right for the players is not what's right for the industry as a generality. It's not.
Yeah, but if you're in the industry, know your audience, and I mean, I could make a list of players that I would approach, because I know that they are not just in it for themselves, and that you will get a fair assessment on what you've done, and it won't. And there's other players that you obviously avoid. So be a bit smart. You do want some input from some players, but you want it
for
from
sure
the correct
input. But like, don't just say we're going to go and cater to it, because the same stuff that's worked before in the past ain't going to go and work today.
You got to be creative. Right, there's certain players you don't listen to, but I think if you're in the industry, you know who those players are already. Yeah. So
Yep. And for the most part, those people are the ones that aren't showing up for this tournament anyway, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, there you go. You want the ambassadors. But you should be bringing players in and letting certain players, getting them to help you with the promoting of the whole thing. And I mean, I mean.
Listen, there's plenty of other guys who can go make a name for themselves. We saw that plenty of times throughout the Predator event over last year. The Yaps of the world before the U.S. Open. How strong Oi has been. Chua, whenever he was playing. There were so many guys that really made a stamp on the year. But it was from playing pool, right? Go figure. It was from playing pool over being on Facebook, I mean, they were out there and they were playing. They were traveling around.
Wait.
Oliver was just creeping and creeping and creeping. It was.
Are you trying to tell me that sitting on Facebook and barking isn't going to make you better at pool?
Well, keep trying.
What the hell did I start a podcast for?
Yeah,
I thought I was getting better this whole time.
We had nothing to do on a Tuesday afternoon.
I thought I was getting better this whole time. What the heck's going on? Well,
no, I'm looking forward to it though.
While that happens,
get the right players involved, get people that you consider ambassadors, people that are good for the game, get them involved in it and get them promoting. I would like to see more media attention for these kind of things. I don't know if there's anything outside of the pool world that's being done, but I think, this is something that you could start pushing it just slightly out of the pool world, and just letting other people know that these things are going on in your area, and come along and see some of the best players in the world playing,
Well, here we go.
One of the first steps to see how you're going to play if you're a U.S. player.
Yeah, but I'd like to see a situation where there's people that are saying, it's going from Wednesday to Saturday. It's a Thursday afternoon or a Thursday evening. I've got nothing better to do. I heard that there's a massive big pool tournament going on. Should we just go around and have a look there? We can get a beer and we can watch some pool and see what's going on. And this is what you want. You want to slowly be people that are just turning up because they just want to see, what's it all about.
You'll see it with shootouts, I promise you.
Yeah, that's it. And then see, Jesus Christ, this is quite exciting. Or maybe they just stay for 10 minutes and say, yeah, this is not for me. You don't know. But, I'd like to see a situation relatively soon where it's not just pool players that are sitting watching other pool players, Be good.
For sure.
I'm digging it. I like it. Yep. I was planning on signing up anyways, and I just never got around to doing it. And really, that's just laziness. But here we go. While you guys talked me into it, here we are. That's what it costs, $370.
See, half those. All they got to do is draw Neight, and you're if you're a champion, and you're
at least into the second round. Yeah, you're at least into the second round at that point. Hey, all you got to do is just win a couple more, and you might be a player.
Yeah, there you go.
God, I hope you sign up for it, Mike. Mike, why don't you come hang out with us? You come hang out and sign up.
I ain't mad at
I can get the 2 wins against you.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you draw me, you're guaranteed a W.
I can at least get 2 wins out of you.
Yeah. I won't even get the 2 and put a little bit of heat on you.
I don't know. I got a lot of donkey in me. I mean, I don't remember the last time I made a 10 ball without shooting it straight into the rail first.
And but it makes. I've seen some great players into this format go and shake a little bit because it really just intensifies the heat from the beginning, And
it doesn't. You better be ready from that very first ball. You ain't got time to get warm.
Yeah, for sure. And I've seen average players or shortstops, whatever you want to go and call them, that can go and take down a champion. And I remember that. I think it was the event where Federer won, if I'm not mistaken. I think he was in a shootout with Michael Yednick to go and start that event, if I remember right.
I watched that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like anything going to happen, you know.
Yeah. Yep, it's good stuff. Well, let's I guess let's move on from that topic. Let's go to what did you want to talk about with Efren? Just well, I think we should give a shout out. Yeah, we give a shout out to Greg Hogue. Yeah, I mean, Efren's going to be playing the Iron City. He's going to be playing the one pocket and the singles. And then Greg Hogue, give yourself a little plug here. He's going to be bringing him to the Red Door Den. He's going to do a challenge match with him. So that's pretty awesome too.
Red Door Den.
Training Center.
Can you one more time, please? Can you guys say that just one more time? Nice and loud for the people in the back. Go ahead.
Every time, whenever somebody calls, I want that as my ringtone. You know,
a little louder for just a little louder for the people in the back.
Trainer.
This is turning out perfectly. This gives them just enough time to start typing all this stuff up. Perfect.
Yeah.
I guess
I think he's playing a race to 12, if I remember right, and it's crazy affordable. I think it's like $5. So
$5 or something like that.
Yeah, $5 to go and watch. So who can't go and swing that? And it's not cheap bringing Efren over. So I think him. There's Brendan in the chat out of the Players Club. They're doing something with Efren, if I'm not mistaken. Obviously, he'll be playing Derby, and I think he's got a bunch of events in the East Coast as well. But yeah, it's great to see him back. And this is what I like. He's trying to go and travel to go and make money and using, his career to go and just play pool and, earn a living while you can.
You got to give props to Greg as well. He'll play anybody. There's no dodging that guy whatsoever. He'll play anybody. It's be good.
We'll throw this up on screen. Here's
Efren can play some one pocket still. I mean, he just beat Billy like a couple years ago.
God, of course.
There you go.
Here's the tournament for it. So it's Monday, January 10th, 3 p.m. pay-per-view stream. Railbirds production 4K challenge match, one pocket race to 12 with Greg Spanky Hogue. Seating available to the first 20.
Say that 3
times.
The
area. Yeah, right. If you're in the area, head over there. Maybe they still have some RSVP spots left. Should be good.
No, I think he said they sold out on those.
Oh, they sold out? Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Good.
How old is Efren now?
Oh, he's got to be mid-60s. I would think he's got to be mid to. He's older. Well, he's older than Boosty. I think Boosty's 50, 56,
he's older than,
58.
He's older than Earl, no?
I don't know.
Well, Earl's 61, right? Earl's 61.
Earl's playing better than Efren right now. I can tell you that.
Earl would beat him, I think. Yeah,
for sure.
So I would say he's like 66, something like that.
Mike DeShane says he's 67.
Yeah. 67. So
that would be about right.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, that's about what I thought it was. Yeah.
Find a 67-year-old in the world that's better than him.
Well, I mean, you play pretty good.
What about you, Jim?
Wow.
Right there, Mike.
You knew that one was coming. Wow. You knew that one was coming. You set yourself up there, buddy.
Wow.
I like how neither Mike.
We didn't even coordinate that. We just immediately were at the tip of our tongue as soon as
my father's going to hit 67 before my age hits it.
Oh man, I'm loving
Mike
this.
And I zero hesitation.
Great podcast
just
today.
Right on it. Yeah, this is
ready.
Wow, you horrible people. I can't believe I spent my evening talking to you guys.
We're the closest thing you have to fun. So Jim, what do you? Oh, I guess. Well, I'll ask that question later on. Greg, put the link for the pay-per-view so that if anybody in here wants to watch it, that they can go on and buy the stream right now.
I think
maybe
he's
he'll
playing,
get a little spike today.
He's playing DeShane in a couple of exhibitions in the Northeast, I think, after that, or sometime in February. I can't remember. But that'll be good too.
Spanky is or Efren is?
No. Efren's playing DeShane whenever he makes it to that part of the country. I know I just saw a flyer somewhere yesterday.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I mean, for anytime we can watch Efren Reyes play, I guess I'll watch it. I guess
for sure.
You know.
Listen, you never know. if Dennis taught us everything, it's that it can be gone quick, you know. So I mean, you never know. You may not be able to see. You may not be able to go and see the old man go and play, you know, some top, you know, caliber players. You know, maybe this might be his last time, or maybe he'll be like Kiss, where he'll have, you know, retirement tours for the last 15 years.
55
you know?
farewell tours.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
I'm surprised nobody's set up a match with you know, a Scott Frost one pocket or something like that, or a Chip Compton one pocket with Efren or something like that. You know?
Oh, I'm sure if somebody wants to go on back Efren playing either one of those guys, they would gladly go and accept.
Well,
yeah, you think he can't get there?
No, not even. No.
No.
When I saw him at Derby a couple of years ago, I mean, he may be playing better now, but I mean, he was like a fraction of the player he used to be.
Okay.
Man. His eyesight wasn't all that great, but
so,
you know, kudos to him. I mean, he's still out there and he's giving it hell, and people still want to go and see him. You know, I still want to go and see him.
He still wants to play. I think that's the main thing. He still wants to play. You know.
Yeah.
Well, the question is, does he want to play? Does he want to play because he needs to financially, or does he want to play because he just loves the game? I don't know the answer to that. I don't know the answer to that.
I would think it's a part of it, but you're not just going to leave all that money on the table either, you know? So, I mean, it's smart what he's doing, and I like it. And fans still want to go and see the GOAT, you know? I know I do.
Certainly. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, let's move on from that. Spanky, if you're out there, still post the pay-per-view where people can go and buy that. So maybe you'll get a little spike from the podcast today. I guess the last thing that I kind of wanted to talk about, I mean, outside of the Iron City, there's just really nothing really to talk about the Iron City. I guess because there's no brackets, there's no player list. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, is there anything that you wanted to say about it, Mike?
No, not especially. I mean, it's the beginning. It's the beginning of what's going to be a great, you know, month of pool. I mean, literally
hopefully,
weekend's, there's going to be an event going on, and this is the first of it. I know there's Turning Stone also at the same time, and that'll be 9-ball with some great players are going to be out there as well. So I'm super pumped. We're back to having a gauntlet, and everyone's just going to be, I'm sure, burnt out by the beginning of February. But I'm thrilled to death.
I hope
man.
not. That's when I'm going to be starting to play.
Yeah, well, you better hope with the way you signed up. You better hope everyone's burnt out.
You better start now.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's go back to making fun of Jim. I like that more. Come on, Mike, be on my side.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the last thing I wanted to discuss. So there was a question with Fedor and Alex, and I guess they're playing again now, which is great because why wouldn't you want to watch Alex and Fedor play? Race to 75, 10-ball over 3 days. But the question came up as to whether or not they should play the match because Jason Romero is running an event out of South Carolina, right? South Carolina?
Louisiana.
Sorry. Louisiana. And they booked over his dates for his event. And I thought it'd be interesting to have the discussion as to whether or not there are certain people in the industry that have more rights, let's say, to have a weekend dedicated like straight to them. So the argument here is Jason does a ton for pool. He puts a lot of people in the ring to play. Usually over the course of like a phone call, he can call and get action to anybody who wants it because his action is so good. Takes care of a lot of players, has a great pool room in Louisiana, and basically just he's a good staple for pool in the pool world. So I guess the question that we can have a discussion over is, does the fact that his track record is so clean, does that mean that he should get exclusivity to the weekend that his event is holding place? And Mike, is there anything I missed there?
I think exclusivity is a bit of a reach. I think it's just a matter of giving him more respect because of everything that he does do. And the average person isn't going to know what he does for the pool world. But if you can pick a match that's gone on over the last few months, he's been involved in it. His event's has been on the calendar for quite some time. And when Federer and Alex played, they played without a stream where nobody ever got to, see it because they did play in Vegas before this. This is how the game got set up because Alex, beat that game already once before, and Federer and them want to go and bet it up and play it again. But yeah, he didn't take too kindly to them going and booking at that same time. He felt it was deliberate. I know Josh from Racks on the Rocks had something to go and say about it, which he has since gone and changed his tune. And I don't know if you guys have seen it, but go look at his personal profile. He's made an updated post in regards to Romero. There's a lot of politics and BS that goes on in the pool world. It's just the way it goes, you know. And Romero wanted his respect, and at the end of the day, he's backed Federer plenty of times. So it's like, if you want me to be on your camp, you know, respect what I got going on, and I don't think that's unfair. And there's plenty of chances for them to go and play, you know, anytime, you know, whether or not there's a pay-per-view set up to go and watch it or not. There's plenty of opportunity for them to go and match up and play. It doesn't have to be on the weekend of that man's event when he's had that listed for 6 months plus. So, you know, that's my opinion on it. I mean, just give the man a little bit more respect. And I think since then they've gone and have figured it out. Hopefully, you know, Ray will go and figure out a way to go and stream it where it makes sense for him too. People want to go and watch it. I mean, everybody loves watching Alex play. Everyone knows Federer's top 5-10 ball player on earth. You know, people want to go and see it. So I think we're just communicating and working together, you know, it can be resolved. But it wasn't a good look what happened, you know, at the end of the year. So,
well, I would say it's great that we're having this discussion, because it means that there's enough interest in pool that, yeah, like I think Sarah Schmidt said it perfectly. There's only so many weekends in a year, right? And you have to have a gambling match on a weekend, and you have to have a gambling match on a weekend where not only
you don't,
Alex,
but you don't have to though. Like, you don't.
Well,
they can go and play
right.
anytime. They can go and play in some back corner, and no one's ever going to know about it, just like it was in Vegas, and play.
But if you're going to be playing it pay-per-view, it's got to be on the weekend, because that's going to get you the best numbers. So
sure.
The idea is, if you're having a pay-per-view, you got to have it on the weekends. There's only so many of them. You got to have, you know, it a weekend when Fedor's in town, Alex is in town, and they're not playing a major event that both of them have to be at, right? So, you know, you're limiting down the amount of weeks that you can have already. Were there other options out there that Ray, you know, could have chosen but didn't? I don't know that. I mean, I without looking at a schedule of everything, I can't be sure on that.
Yeah, but that whole weekend part doesn't go and affect their ability to make a game. It does not. I mean, people can still figure out a way to go and watch it, even if it was, you know, during the week. They played, Tony and Alex played during the week, and this was just a couple months ago. You know.
Yeah, I get that. I'm trying
I understand
to set,
what you're saying, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
I'm trying to set everything up, I guess, as far as that. Like, I think this is good. I mean, honestly, I think this is good. You know, Reyes Chen said the pool is dying and gave a bunch of evidence. I don't think that that's true. I don't. I think pool is growing faster than it ever has, at least in my lifetime. And I think it's growing in a way that's different. It's going from being a bar game with a bunch of drunks who just want to show up on a Friday night and play for drinks all night so that they can get away from their wives, to a sport that's actually structured and professional. And as that happens, you know, you're going to have a lot of the people who have weathered the storm of the last 20 years of pool kind of being on the dregs, and now you're coming out of it, and everybody's like, well, look at all the excitement around pool there is right now. I want to get in on this. Let me hold a sweet event. And when you get to the point, I mean, I've been saying this for months at this point, a couple of years, that all of these middling tournaments, like I'm not trying to dog on anybody's tournament, but middling tournaments are like the Space City, the Iron City, even the Turning Stones to a lesser degree. I don't see those tournaments being around in 5 or 6 years, because why would you go to a Turning Stone Classic or an Iron City Classic that has, you know, $5, $6, $7, $10,000, $15,000 added, when you could go to a Predator Tour Stop that has $25,000 added? And that's right now, you know, by then it might be $50,000 added. What, as a player, which one are you going to go to? And I think all of these kind of like middle tier tournaments like that are going to end up turning into like feeders for the professional tour. So the players like, the players like Jim, players like Tanner Pruis, who I was watching earlier, players like I mean, even to a lesser degree right there, Raymond is a really good player. I mean, he could play low tier pro right now, but, he's kind of like that, in between, way too good to be an amateur and not quite good enough to make significant amount of money on the tour. Greg Hogue is another, players like that. I think those tournaments could be perfect feeder systems for them to get them from the amateur ranks up into the Predator Tour, Matchroom Tour, potentially maybe the NBL. I mean, although that's going to be kind of somewhere in between there because that's kind of a feeder system too. I think that those tournaments are going to turn into that, and I think they're going to, maybe they're not 10,000 added anymore because they can't get those kind of funds to get like players like Fedor and Shane and Sky in there. Now they're only adding $5,000, but they're getting the best of the best for the top amateurs and the lower to middle tier professionals. And like, I'm not trying to say that Jason's tournament isn't good, but the point is like these, as Predator expands, as Matchroom expands, Matchroom added the UK Open, which is going to go on in March this year. And they are going to be adding another event in the future, which I shouldn't say anything because I think I might get killed if I do. But they're adding another event to their schedule eventually. And you're looking at, you're looking at what, 8 Matchroom events now? Is that right? With the UK and the new event, that'll be 8 events on the calendar. Plus you have 6 events for the Predator. If the NBL takes off, they're looking to have 4 events a year at $250,000. And now you're looking at, just between those companies, 6, 14, 18 events every single year. That is a minimum of $50,000 added. Minimum. Most of these are $75,000 added. I mean, how can a $10,000 added event compete with that? They just can't do it, right? So the idea is like this. I kind of fall on your side of it, though. I still think we need to take care of the people who do a lot for the industry, Mike. But I love that we're having this discussion because that means that we're getting to the point where our calendar's so full. There's nowhere else to.
If they're
go.
making millions of dollars, playing for 25,000 in a month from now isn't going to be too appealing. No, but right now, given what they're able to go and make in an event and all the things they got to go and fade, and if they like their side of it, of course it's going to be super appealing, and if they get paid appearance fees or whatever else, I mean, their chance for them to go and make money, guaranteed money, is great, but there's a way to do it without stepping on toes of people who have had your back, for anytime, anytime you want to go and get
the game afloat for a long time.
Yeah. And I mean, it's easy to go on and make Jason out to be, a villain here. Fans are going to go and think. No, I don't either. But I mean, it's easy for the average person who doesn't know what all he's done, and to go and say, oh, he's just being selfish, or he's being this, or he's being that. I mean, the guy has put up a lot of money, and I know this for a fact. I mean, a ton of money for a lot of matches that have gone on over the last 2 years, and that's just matches that people know of, not to mention the other, every other day of putting players in action all across the country that nobody ever gets to hear about.
Yep. Yeah. The backroom, not everybody knows that Fedor and Alex have already.
And that allows these guys to go and make a living. I mean, it does. If they're playing a set for 10,000 and not just that, but he's a really good stake horse in the sense that he goes and gives the guys a very fair percentage, like a real generous one compared to others. So, just asking for that mutual respect back from his guy I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but, the whole delivery of it could have been a lot better because they didn't have to get like that.
Well, it turned into like almost, I mean, I don't know Jason from a loaf of bread. I don't. If he walked by me with a shirt that says I'm Jason Romero, I wouldn't know who he was. With that being said, I mean, I know exactly the stuff that you're talking about because I cover the industry. Of course, I know that, a lot of these things, and I don't know anywhere close to, what he actually does. He doesn't look for admiration all the time. Like, this is the first time I've ever seen him in the industry say, hey, have some respect for me here. But with that being said, I saw a lot of weird.
But it was only after being called out, because
weird.
Before that post was made public, that stuff was being talked about, like, privately for weeks in advance. I mean, weeks before, privately to go and handle that. So, yeah. No, we'll see.
Yeah. Jim, did you have any thoughts on anything?
I mean, yeah, I pretty much agree with what Mike said. You got to have a little bit of respect. I mean, professional integrity, respect, whatever you want to call it. But I mean, how far do you spread your focus when you're organizing something like this? Let's say Federer and Alex were playing in Europe. Would they need to consider a tournament in America as something that's that they should consider for scheduling, or is it just because it's happening in the same country that they should be,
Well, I mean,
taken into
there's not a lot of
consideration?
Romeros that are going like you got to go and like touch base with, and Romero's not putting on a tournament every other week neither. It's like the guy does one event a year. Can you just not have it on that weekend?
No, I think
that's
get
the whole
that,
thing,
but like you said, there's not a huge amount of space left in the year.
Right.
How in tune are you with the schedule for everybody that you're not going to make the error of planning your match when there's a tournament going on, and you only find out about it after the fact. That can happen to anybody.
Look, and there's Josh right there in the comments saying that Ray did it on purpose. Like, and I'm not.
See, I don't know. Maybe I don't know
and
who
that's
Josh says. Maybe he knows this for a fact. Maybe he doesn't.
Well,
I can't comment on that.
He's the room owner who was putting on the event. So,
Yeah.
do you want to talk about coming straight from the horse's mouth? There's the horse's mouth, right there. That's why I said earlier when it comes to like the BS that happens behind the scenes, because they knew there was another event going on that weekend. So, do I think it was intentional that it was done that day?
Yeah. Well,
you hear it right there.
To play. I mean, the way I don't know the situation as well as you guys do, or obviously as well as Josh does. So I'm not going to make a comment one way or the other on who's right and who's wrong. What I will say is, I hope in the future that there is going to be a lot of clashes. There's not going to be enough room left in the calendar, and you're going to get the viewers if you're providing the best product. And competition is the best way to increase. The more competition there is, the better the product is, the better it is for us as viewers, and the better it is for players. So I hope in the future that there's going to be so many or not enough free spaces that you're going to have 3 streams to choose from, and you're going to go for the one that's the best. You got the best players in your lineup. You've got the best commentators. You've got the best stream quality. You're going to get all the viewers. So I hope that's the way it ends up in the future.
Let's put it this way.
Sure.
Let's put it this way. When it comes to the NBA playoffs, when it comes to a big marquee game in the NBA, you will never see that game on Monday night, Sunday night, or Thursday night. Why is that? They're not trying to run up against football. They're not trying to fight a war they know they're going to end up losing. And as we continue this through the cycle,
that's why the NFL won't put on a game on Saturday night, for the better part of the year, because they don't want to go up against UFC. Everyone kind of.
Well, they don't want. No, they don't want to. No, they have contracts with the college.
Well, but I'm saying like but in other words, everybody kind of respects one another and what they got going on.
Because once you're in between like the end of the regular season for college football and the end and college football playoffs, there's like three Saturday football games. They're not afraid.
No, I know, but I'm saying for the better part of the year is what I'm getting at. Like, in other words,
that's
with
because
a little bit of
football.
communication and working with one another, there's respect to be had there. They
have an agreement
at
with
the end of it.
Football, though.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of it, Josh and Jason, they talked about what they had to go and talk about, and handled it between them. Josh updated his post, and I don't think it ever needed to go and get like that. But I mean, I don't blame them. I don't blame either side of it for being passionate about what they intended to go and get across at that time. I don't blame Josh for feeling like, who the hell is this guy? I don't blame Romero for going and talking with Fedor privately. He didn't go on Facebook and tell him. He went privately and say, the hell's going on? I got an event, what's up? I help you out, help me out,
I'll just say this. I think when you're looking at the events, like no one's gonna book a gambling match over let's say even the championship league pool, because they know that if you're gonna get enough viewership or with Matchroom, you're not going to win. So don't fight it. Just find a new date that works. Like if Ray did this on purpose, I don't know that he did, but if he did, let's assume that he did. He thinks that he honestly thinks he can win that war, or he wouldn't have done it, or he's trying to do it just to hurt Jason for financial reasons. I don't know if that's the case, that he did do it on purpose. He either thinks he's going to win the viewership war, or he doesn't care about Jason and he's trying to hurt him maliciously.
Well, people want to see the match. I mean, I would think that Alex and
but they also want to see. They also want to see his event too. They also want to watch the.
I think Alex against Federer wins. To be honest,
I agree. I agree.
Alex versus Fedor wins. Alex wins.
No, that match wins the viewer war.
Oh yeah, of course it will. Yeah, of course. But the idea is like, as we go on throughout time, you would think that as we have all these battles and people win and people lose, that the best of the best comes out, and 5 years from now, when there are $500,000 added events 5, 6, 7 times a year, that the best of the best will also rise through and be able to do what they're doing now. I don't know. I think that competition is healthy for industry. I do. I think it's healthy for industry, and I don't look at this as a bad thing. I look at this as like.
I mean, there's plenty of events that are overlapping one another. You got Iron City and Turning Stone coming up. You got Music City coming up, and then you got the Predator event going on. So there's other events that are going on. There's not a million, and I'm not saying it for his ego or anything like. There's not a million Jason Romero's who are going and putting guys into action for big money on a regular basis. And not only that, but he doesn't have a tournament, every other month. So it's like, if he does it once a year and he helps you out, I mean, damn, show the man a little bit of love back, show him a little bit of respect back. And I think that's what all he was trying to go and get across.
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah.
And that's why we're having this discussion ultimately, because
I agree with that. But at the end of the day, it should be that if you're providing a product that's good enough, you'll survive. If you're not, you're not. And I know, I'm sure there's guys out there that provide streaming for certain matches that they're not doing themselves any favors. They're not doing the pool world any favors. Some of the commentators, some of the things are getting said in commentating.
That's true.
The more competition there is, we get rid of that dirt. And we end up.
Well, everyone's got to raise their standards.
Exactly.
And it's great that there's so many added money events going on across the country. Guys are having options of where to go and what they want to do and who they want to go and fade and what rooms, I don't want to say quote unquote better, but what part of the country maybe treats them better or they prefer. So, I mean, it's a great problem to have. And it's great that they were able to work out their differences and, now all is forgotten, or it's water under the bridge at this point. So when guys in the pool world there's plenty of jerks in the industry. When people go and can work together, we can be a lot better in general, So,
but that's it. As soon as you get healthy competition within these kind of things, everybody gets paid, because if you want to win a viewership war, you best get yourself the best commentators. You better get yourself the best cameras there, the best setup. You better get yourself the best streaming software. You better get yourself the best players. Everybody gets paid then. Then you've got commentators like the likes of Jeremy Jones. Everyone will be knocking on his door saying, "Hi, Jeremy, I want you in the commentary," Or
I heard
and Jeremy will be able to turn around and say, "Okay, well, now it's going to cost you this much because he wants me as well, and they want me as well. Everybody wants to be the best. The bar's getting raised, You're not going to get away with just having some boring idiot sitting on his own talking shit about two players. That's not going to get you anywhere. You're going to be out of the business pretty quickly,
As everything starts to grow, everyone's got to step up their game.
Yeah.
Whether it's players because of the format or streamers because there's so many options, whatever it is, everyone's going to have to do it better than what they did it last year and the year before.
It's not going to be enough to turn up with your GoPro and a laptop and stream a table. That ain't going to get you anything.
I feel
or your telephone, that you have to charge after every 10th rack.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a pretty good discussion. I guess in conclusion, I just think competition's good. In the long run, it's going to be good. I'm not trying to say that I want Jason Romero's pushed out of the industry. I don't want that. I think some people get a little bit of a pass or, extra leniency, and I think he falls under that category comfortably. So I'm glad to see him still working it out, I guess, and events going on as planned. And you know,
That's
maybe
all
in a
part
couple
of it.
years.
That's all part of it. If you've invested in the past, then you should get a little bit of, you should get a free pass in certain things. We talked about it with Earl when Earl was getting picked. Earl's put enough into the game and done enough for the game that he gets a free pass on certain things. And there's people that are behind the scenes that if you're in the business, but you probably don't know as a normal viewer. If you've invested, if you've done the right things in the past, then you get that extra little bit of respect. You get that extra. That extra cheese with a little cherry on the top of the cake because you've earned it, kind of thing. Yeah.
Want to give a shout out. Thank you very much to Eves. Sent some stars along the way. Thank you very much.
Ooh, how's our Star War getting on? See what I did there? That was smart, wasn't it? Are we still having a star party?
No. Well, we made our bonus and that was good, and now it stopped. Once you get the
so me and Mike are on 30% of that bonus, yeah.
Ship it.
Yep, sure. Yeah, Jim. Yep, you guys got it. All right. Well, I guess unless there's anything else that you guys wanted to discuss.
Nope, I got to run anyway because I got my girls here. So.
Yep, I think we need to get scooting out of here. All right. Well, thank you guys again. Thanks everybody for tuning in and watching, and for those who participated in our star party, thank you very much for that. We appreciate it, and we'll be back. I guess next week, huh?
See you guys.
Let's do it.
Are you trying to make a heart, Jim? You're really
my camera's in the wrong spot.
You're really bad at hearts, man.
I don't have
Bye,
one.
Mike. All right, let's get out of here. All right. Bye, everyone.